Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining an episode of English Premier League podcast, which is weekly EPL talk. And in this podcast, covering our weekly topics about English Premier League. And to join me in this conversation, I have five guests with me. Really lovely to have all you knowledgeable folks on various clubs out here on this podcast. And let's talk about the game first, the game that just concluded. Manchester City versus Liverpool. 2-2. What a back and forth. The first half, the second half. What do you think, guys? What was it, a
Breathtaking, wasn't
deserved
it?
draw?
It was an amazing game, a great game of football after a long time between two top teams, and clearly, I think draw was a fair result. Uh, could have been here and there, but I think good draw, good 2-2, 4 goals, good point for both of them, I guess.
Mhm. And how about Salah goal? The individual, should you think that should be considered as the goal of the season?
It's still early days. I mean, we're just into October and getting a good solid one. I mean, let's be honest. All of our teams have at least one or two players that could pull off a solid type of goal easily. I mean, Chelsea, as much as I don't like them, have at least three or four players in them that can do it easily. This was a good game, and it's proven something I have thought for a bit
Mhm.
in that you've got two managers from Germany that really truly know how to get the ball rolling, and you've seen hopefully Southampton can get their stuff together because that's a bigger club down there. But this is par for the course for Salah. I mean, last year was a weird one for all the clubs, but seeing something like this where they can go up against Manchester City, I just don't know if Manchester City is has too much talent on them.
I just think with Manchester City, Pep Guardiola has this habit of overthinking things. And when I face Manchester City, our team faces Manchester City, I just hope that he somehow manages to do that because that's the way they fall down. He did, like in the last season when we played Manchester City three times. He basically started with one defensive midfielder first, then started with two defensive midfielders, and I guess in the final he started with no defensive midfielders. And he just overthinks
Overthought.
things. So and to this perspective, how I see the Liverpool Man City game, brilliant individual goals, fine. I just see two title challengers taking 2 points from each other.
I think injury played a part today. I think Trent, if he had been in the game, I think it would have been a very different game. I think Miller was struggling and probably lucky to stay on the pitch towards the end. And if Trent was there, I guess it would have been a different game, I guess, for Liverpool.
Would have made a difference. Yep, yep.
But Pep got it right.
Liverpool has basically, out of a possible 51 points not 51, out of a possible 57 points at home, they have already lost 4 points to Chelsea and Man City. And you remember the season when Liverpool lost to Man City by a single point?
Yep, yep.
It was the
97. I think what was that? 97, 98, or
98, 99.
98,
98.
99. Thanks.
It,
Yep,
it was the first leg draw against Man City that hurt them at
that
the
hurt
end.
them.
If we start talking about that, then we can go back to Stephen Gerrard's slip against Chelsea.
Oh, yeah.
And so basically,
I mean, that would be another story altogether.
yeah. So it's more than that. I would say like Liverpool should have won that game against Manchester City back then because I remember they lost the second leg against Manchester City and Etihad, and that ultimately came back to bite them where it hurts the most.
Oh, you guys bring up. I always hear as a Liverpool fan Steven Gerrard's slip. Now, I remember in some Champions League, some certain center back falling at the goal line. I mean, what was that? John Terry?
Yeah, but that was like a long time ago. So okay, so the Steven Gerrard slip would have been more relevant if you haven't won the Premier League 2 years back, it would have been still basically the single thing which would have bitten you the most, essentially. But yeah,
We still got the title eventually. I'm kind of glad that the title didn't go on Brendan Rodgers and it went on Jurgen Klinsmann. To be honest with you,
Uh-huh. Why do you say
and
that?
I'm sorry. That's being an American, we get both of them. I'm actually I don't like Brendan Rodgers for a number of reasons, but I'm glad that Liverpool got it during the COVID year
Oh.
just to get it out of the way.
I mean, to be very honest, this season it won't be a two-team fight. It will be a four-team fight all till the end, and we are basically, you can say, so Manchester United, don't write them off yet. I mean, like, yeah, they haven't won anything in the last 4 years or anything, but they will be there or thereabouts until March.
Sure, sure. We will cover all these topics in detail. So let's keep moving forward in our agenda. So let's talk about the first topic we have, the Norwich City. Let's throw them first into the right position. Are they already relegated? Are they
They
doomed?
are going down without a doubt. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there are certain clubs who will come up into the Premier League and will go down the very next year. The likes of Norwich, the likes of Fulham. These are the clubs that can never stay up because they are so stubborn. They cannot change their style of play. They need to adapt quickly, with the style of play that Premier League brings altogether. I mean, when you are playing against teams like Chelsea, when you're playing against teams like Liverpool, forget about Man United, because we in particular are a team that only plays on counter, and with possession we are not that good. But in terms of Norwich, when I'm talking about a team that is purely based on fast attacking football, you need to change your tactics in each and every game, and that's
Yeah,
what has caused them in the last 2 seasons, if I'm not wrong. Every time they went
they
up, the very
attack.
next year they've gone down.
Yep, that's why they are called one of the yo-yo clubs. But the reason why I brought up Norwich City in this conversation is because Daniel Fark, the first season that he came in, he was appreciated. I mean, the kind of performances that Norwich City gave against, yes, they do play a single style of play, but we all thought that, yes, it's a well managed club. They prefer to be on the right side of finances. They are okay going down, but we knew it that they will come back. And in fact, they did. But with all that we expected from them this season, that Daniel Fark is the same guy. Some of the players, yes, they sold some of very good players like Bundia, but they have pretty good manager and they will learn from their mistakes. But it seems going south this season for them. So does this mean the manager is not as good as we thought? The team is not good. The transfer window, what exactly broke for them this season?
I
I think
mean,
the
it
fact that
is.
they keep going up and down, I think they're not primary quality. There are 19 better teams out there in England which are better than Norwich. Each season, whenever they do come up, yes, they do go back and climb up the table all over again. Probably championship is where Norwich City do belong. I mean, there are good examples. Brentford is one of them. Southampton is one
Exactly.
of them. Burnley is one of them. But they got it right with the manager. They're not going chopping and changing things every single time. I think that's what keeping them alive in the Premier League, especially.
I think there's a big gulf of difference in quality between the Championship and the Premier League. You play that style, the Norwich play. In the Championship, it suits you with the players they have and opponents they have. But when you come to the Premier League, it's a bit difficult because the opponents, I think, are too strong sometimes to play
A
that
lot
style.
difficult.
So you have to adjust to it. For example, a Burnley, they don't play that style, and I think, they did well defensively. So I think you have to build on defense if you are to stay up. We saw with Burnley, they stayed up. Southampton always had great style of play. So I don't think Norwich City are right there, but I actually appreciate the board. They're sticking with the manager all the time. They came up, got relegated, came up again, now struggling, but they're still sticking with the manager. So that's appreciable. But I think the managers sometimes have to change your style as well, change your philosophy a little bit to help the team to stay up.
I mean, like, let's be very honest. Does Norwich City has the quality to be a Premier League team? No. Does Brentford has the quality to be a Premier League team? Yes. Uh, that's completely because if you see the style of recruitment between two teams, Brentford are a team that are much more based on like the data analytics style of thing. Like if you look at the style of play in terms of like the passing, possession, or whatever it is, both of them try to carve out the opposition open. But Brentford basically, I would say they know when to press, when to do what. They are basically a well managed team, both on and off the field. And when basically Norwich City just came up, it was basically they just look out of their depth. And they have just played like Liverpool and Manchester City as two of the big teams. I'm not counting Arsenal as a big team. I'm sorry about it, but they are not one of the top six teams anymore currently with this current form. So yeah, they will face other teams. They might win a few points here and there, but along with Norwich as well, I just I mean like I just think any two of Burnley, Newcastle, and Leeds United will go down as well.
Are we really coming down to the fact that it's all down to the manager? Thomas Frank is clearly a better manager than Daniel Farr.
I mean,
Yes,
like,
yes, yes, it
yeah,
is. Because
when
if you talk of data analytics, firstly, I think people like clubs like Brentford and Norwich are kind of fishing in the same pool for players. So, and we in this day and age, I think every club does use data science and analytics to a great extent. So yes, it is down to the manager, and I think Frank is doing a great job. And I mean, their performance against Liverpool, oh, what a game that was. So yeah, I think it is down to the manager,
Down to the
definitely.
manager. Yep,
And
yep.
even today against West Ham as well, they showed what it takes to be in the
Great.
Premier League.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Awesome.
mean, I just feel that this season Brentford will be the team that decides the champions of the league, basically.
Champions of the league.
Yeah,
Could be.
basic, yeah, because they are the team that can take points off top teams on their day.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay, so Manchester United. Let's first set up some context and context on this, right? So this is what Gary Neville said. He can see a lack of cohesiveness in Manchester United. This is what he says, quote, I said it even when they are winning, even when Cristiano Ronaldo scored. They don't play well enough as a team to win this league, in my view. They don't play well enough as a team. I think you have to be a unit in and out of possession. And when you only deliver in moments, those moments won't go for you in certain games. Unquote.
I mean, I was watching that live session, when Gary was live, and the only thing that I disagree with is that he says that you can't sack a manager midway through the season. All right, Chelsea has done it, and it worked well for them. Yes, I know that United is a different club, and the mentality is different. The atmosphere within the club is different. But then again, if the manager is not producing the results with the given quality that he has at his hands this season, till last season, I was backing him because I was like, okay, we don't have players on the bench who could turn the game, on their own, and he can't have substituted his key players in the Europa League final as well. But then again, if you are benching, Donny van de Beek, Matic, Paul Pogba, Ronaldo, all in the same game, when the international break is around the corner and Donny and Matic are not going to be there with the international teams. So that was illogical, to be very honest. And when you are playing against a low block team, a team, whose manager is Rafa Benitez, and to be very honest, Everton has no style of play. They just play
Don't
on long balls and they just,
and they didn't have
you know,
strikers on that day. Yesterday they
yeah,
didn't have any strikers.
and they were without Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So basically, it was the midfield that was going to do the work for them. And we placed Fred and McTominay in that midfield, who are not ball carriers, who cannot create anything, who for not for once try for a vertical ball or a through ball,
True.
who always ignores the in behind runs and the overlapping runs from the fullbacks as well. So how can you be so confident in a double pivot that is so poor in terms of defensive work rate as well as in terms of offensive work rate? Sorry. And also when you're fielding Bruno Fernandes all alone in that front four area, who is the sole creator in that department? You look at Greenwood, he's a goal scorer, he's not a creator. You look at Anthony Martial, who was without, proper game time and who hasn't had a great season last year as well. So yes, it was a very good goal from him. But if you look at the work rate that Bruno has been doing since the very start of the season, he has been all on his own when
Yep.
Pogba is not around. So this is down to manager's fault. It's not down to the players. It's down to his game plan. It's down to his in-game tactics, because you always must be ready with a plan B if your counter-attacking football is not working, and when you are playing against a low block team, then you need to play with the possession, and with the possession, Manchester United are unbearable to watch. I've just watched Man City versus Liverpool. That's the kind of performance I want from a United team with the quality that they
With
have at the
without Paul.
moment. You know, I mean, we don't close down our play, the opponent players. You analyze the Villarreal game, two of our very good friends who are sports analytics, so they can completely agree with this point that United has this tendency of sitting so deep and inviting pressure onto themselves, and then they think that they can play on the counter, but their ball carrying ability is so poor, and that comes from that double pivot system that we have been playing for the last 3 seasons now.
I mean, I
The
just want to add one
yeah.
thing. Basically, Fred as a double defense, like in a two defensive midfielder system, is as useful as a plumber in the Titanic. I mean, like, to be really honest, it doesn't matter whether you are a Chelsea fan or a Liverpool fan or whichever team you support. Okay, you want to see your opposition struggle to a certain extent, but you don't want your eyes to bleed at the same time. And I mean, like, if you just take out Bruno Fernandes out of that Manchester United team, they will be at a similar level as Barcelona is right now.
Oh, come on, you have exaggerated it. Let's keep it real.
No, I mean, like, come on, it will be like if you take out Bruno Fernandes, who and basically you bench all the starters, who will carry the ball, who will do the hard work.
Now we are the Barcelona. Once you
Yeah.
bench
If
all
you
the
take
key
out
players,
Salah,
now
if
we
you
are
take out Salah
Barcelona.
from the team, if you take out Lukaku from the team, I don't know how that works. I'm sorry, but I don't know how that is logical. But yeah,
I think this team is
I
good
do.
enough to win the league for Man
Yeah, this
United.
team is not good
That
enough.
yeah.
This team is not good enough.
So
This
I
not.
think
But
coming back.
I'm still a little cautious about the
Mhm.
managers because one, United has already gone that road to get high-profile managers in Louis Van Gaal and Mourinho, and it failed miserably. Van Gaal was miserable too. That football was miserable as well. I don't know how Conte or anybody for Zidane, for example, Zidane's Madrid was I don't know what they were playing, but they got there through because of good players. And I think United don't have good players, especially in the midfield area. Uh, Mohak was talking about a double pivot. It's not working surely. I think what they're trying is they're hoping for Scott McTominay to become that next Matic under his supervision sort of thing. But I don't think
He's
that team is
developing that
bad.
way.
Yes, there are problems. Gary Neville is absolutely right. There is no cohesion in that team. They're getting done. There are moments, or there is some individual perform brilliance that will get them through. But yes, it's not working. But I'm again not sure if changing the manager would guarantee anything, especially when you have already done that, experimented with that approach already in the past. And if you look at the progress this team has made, Ole is not a good manager. For people say that, yes, probably he's not, but they're still
Mhm.
what 2 points off the table, and what they were from when Jose Mourinho left this team to what they are now. I think Ole has done a better job than Jose did. So
I think Mohak, you want to say something?
But Amol, don't you think that the favorism towards certain players is really costing us? How can you play Fred ahead of Matic? I'm not even
somebody
bringing Donny's name in this
Matic,
scenario because
Matic can't give you 90 minutes, Mohawk. He's
not
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 there.
90 minutes. I'm not saying that play him every week, but when you can, if you're playing Scott McTominay in that number 6 role, you need to play someone who has that experience, who can control the tempo of the game.
It's really coming down to the manager again here, that the manager is not making the good choices. But let me ask one other, because it's related, right? Do you think that Ronaldo suddenly has overpowered everything that Ole was planning to do?
I mean, let's be very honest. Ronaldo, I mean, like, it's very good to see him back in the Premier League. First of all, it's very good to see him back at Manchester United. It was always supposed to end like this for him. But at the end of the day, it is just a luxury signing for Manchester United. I mean, okay, he will change the games, he will win you certain games, but at s- during certain games, like he can't do anything when all you are trying to do is basically target the ball to him. So what I just think for like Manchester United as a team is like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't have a plan B. I mean, whatever plan he had before, it was around Bruno Fernandes to a certain extent. I mean, like if you see Manchester United's play, like after Bruno Fernandes came to Premier League, suddenly they started winning everything.
Yep, yep.
Uh, and I guess it is the same thing which is happening with Ronaldo. Earlier, they had like one focal point. Now they're having two focal points. That's it. There is no plan B.
That's how you
And
build a team, though, isn't it? You get more better players. I think Ronaldo, United needed Ronaldo. We need a striker. Without Ronaldo, the first game, Cavani was injured. Marshall is in miserable form. We would have lost to Newcastle as well then.
I mean,
This is how you
Martial,
build a
100%.
team. You get good
100%.
players. You get good players
Um,
in this score goals and you win games. I think
the
Ronaldo is
Villarreal,
I,
the
I'm
Villarreal game,
So
the
coming back,
Villarreal
so
game. I think just wanted to put the one thing, Prashant, is that the Villarreal game without Ronaldo last season, United would have drawn that game.
so
That's what Ronaldo gets you.
yep. So that's there. Ronaldo definitely has those moments, but that exactly is where the point that I started with, right? Is that cohesiveness has not come in. Do you expect that cohesiveness to come in the
I,
next?
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's
we
And
must not forget that we are without Rashford here at the moment.
Yep,
And
yep.
Rashford
no,
brings a whole new, energy altogether with himself. And when he'll be there, we'll see Sancho on the right wing. At the moment, he's playing on the left. And it takes time, for the team
So
to gel
it
up.
will come. So what you're saying is
regarding
it will.
cohesiveness, Prashant, last year
Mhm.
City, I think they were on a very bad run. They beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge 3-0, maybe was it? And then they went
Yeah.
on a crazy run.
Real quick, Manchester United's a year away from breaking into the top two. There's enough
Definitely.
very good talent here. I don't know if it's I don't know if Solskjaer that takes it, but this is where you stick Haaland, Erling Haaland in a year. You put him up top with Rashford. Now, Rashford is probably the only Manchester United player that Liverpool will ever like for what he did during COVID and feeding kids and bringing up all that. But Manchester United is finally a year away from being what they were during Sir Alex.
Interesting.
They just need that one.
Agreed.
They need the Rooney, Cantona, Giggs type of player. I mean,
Yep.
Ronaldo's old-ish.
Let me just wind up this with one quick survey, so to say. Do you think this manager can make United better in upcoming weeks?
Yes.
no.
I
I mean,
think
like,
the next
I mean,
games are
like,
the make and break for him. I think the next 10 games we play Arsenal, City, Chelsea, you name it, we play them. So these next 10 games I think are the most crucial. But last couple of seasons when United have struggled, when it was like Ole is getting the sack, we went on a crazy run of 15 unbeaten games. So I'm hoping for that honestly because
Exactly.
I like Ole. I really like Ole. We
uh,
needed him really
I
to
mean,
just steady the ship.
he will improve the team, but he will not win you the title.
I mean, you
One
cannot
year
say
away.
this, Sadak.
1 year
You
away.
cannot say
Definitely
this.
one year
We
away.
cannot.
1 year
Yeah.
away. They're not winning the league for sure. This.
VAR. I'm sure there will be a common hitting point. This is what Mike really, he came up with a statement before the season started. What he said is that they have implemented a higher threshold for fouls to win a penalty and offsides next season, which is this season, in order to create a more free-flowing game. They the officials will push back on a more forensic approach to decision making, meaning fewer penalties and fouls will be awarded for minimal contact. So I said minimal contacts, while the implementation of thicker lines for offside calls will aim to re-establish the benefit of doubt for forwards. So this is what Mike Rayleigh came out before the season started. And we have seen a few challenges happening, which again are very subjective in terms of rugby or non-rugby, minimal contact, harsh contact, big contact. Do you think we are still debating VAR and
I mean,
referees?
the one critical point which VAR fails to address, and it is very subjective, is basically it says, like, when there is a goal, they check foul leading up to the goal for fouls, right?
Mhm.
VAR checks that. But how much do you go back to check that foul? That's very subjective. Like how
That's one. That's a good point. That's one. But
I mean,
what is
like
the yeah?
yesterday, if you have seen, that's what I say for minimal contact. Uh, do you think? I mean, like in the Cesar Azpilicueta foul on whoever the Southampton player
Southampton
was.
player was.
I mean, that wasn't really a foul in terms of leading up to the goal because the play had already happened after the cross, and then there was a new play which started when Hudson Odoi crossed the ball, took the ball and crossed it. The play ended. The play ended first. The first set of play ended, and in terms of data analytics, we go as far as like 5 or 6 seconds in terms of fouls or in terms of a
Yep.
play is.
Yep.
So, uh, first of all, in terms of refereeing, they need to agree on what they will define as a play or whatever it is. And first of all, they need to just get Anthony Taylor and Mike Dean out of there.
I was actually surprised they ruled off the goal yesterday because
Yeah.
I thought it was a goal,
It
definitely.
was a goal. It was a goal.
The only problem with VAR is I think consistency because there are different officials every time and everybody has the other thinking process. So not the Premier League, but we go to the UCL, the Aaron Van Bissaka tackle and then the Kevin De Bruyne tackle, both very similar. But I was
One.
sure that Kevin De Bruyne was not going to get a red card because he went for the ball and all that. Not because he's a City player, of course. He went for the ball, and so it is a contact sport, football. So sometimes it happens. Bissaka one was red, but was very similar. So just
It
the
kind of.
consistency of the referees. That's I think the main problem with VAR right now. It is way better than last season, though. I'll be honest. The offsides and all. Last season it was a 1, 2, 3 minute.
Handball.
Yeah, of
Handball
course,
itself.
handball too. Yeah, handball too. So this
I,
is better this season. Should we improve even more though?
I, I mean, what I personally feel, and we had a discussion before as well, Prashant, relating to this, that VAR should leave football aside to the referees to decide on field, and we should implement challenges like they do in tennis, like each team has one challenge every half. If you feel that there is a decision against you, you challenge it, and if you are right, you get a second challenge as well. Just think that they need to make this process transparent because in NFL, in rugby, you basically get to hear what the third umpire or the referee is communicating with the on-field referee. This is where I think like VAR is lacking. It would just basically help people to understand what is being
What went
implemented.
behind it? Yep.
I
Yeah,
Yep.
think one of those reasons is stadiums don't have some of stadiums don't have screens. I know Old Trafford doesn't have a screen like for example, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium has. So crowd doesn't get to know in certain stadiums for that reason. And actually agree with Sarthak here
Yep.
with the whole VAR and challenges because it's not helping the game at all. It's making it slow. There's no communication. Um, they are still making mistakes after watching it again and again and again. There still is controversy. It used to happen before as well. There still used to be some controversies. I think goal line technology is good because that's the most important part of the game. Offside, yes, they're getting better, but challenges, they're still making errors. People still are not aware of the handball, which is subjective. So, as 3 years it's been, I think VAR was implemented, or
That's
was it
exactly the
two?
point. Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know what's
Football
happening
was
here.
better without VAR, to be very
Yeah,
they
honest.
all
agreed,
agree
man.
to that.
Agreed.
The players are reluctant to celebrate as well, as we saw yesterday. Yerry Mina scored. Thankfully
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
VAR, it was ruled out, but he was dancing, and other players were looking at was it offside or not. So it's all a bit messed
It's
up at
killed
the
up.
moment.
It's killed those
Yeah.
celebrations. Yep. Yep. Yep.
But even the
Yeah.
fourth officials are a bit reluctant to raise the flag up these days. So they wanted to go to the VAR as well. So it will take a bit of time, I think, to.
Like a very good colleague of mine, he writes academic articles and books on uh, abuses of referees, and then I see Anthony Taylor and Mike Dean, and I'm like, this is the exact reason why they should be
But you
abused.
can also add Martin Atkinson to that, you know.
Oh, you start taking
Uh,
names. That's the entire
let's
English
yeah
contingent.
I think
yeah
they're humans. Players make mistakes. Referees make mistakes. I don't
I,
think
yeah.
that
But
big
I
of
I
a,
mean,
of a
I
deal,
think
to be
what they
honest.
have just to summarize, right? I think what they have done is good, much better than last season. I think
yeah.
last season was horrible. I think Tottenham, especially, I forget, was it Dyer? Yep, I think it was Dyer who had a handball in
Against
the very
Newcastle,
first
yeah,
or second.
Andy Carroll headed
Andy
towards the net.
Carroll, exactly. I think was very unlucky. Uh, but so this season has been way better. It's moved to happy items. I mean, who would not be feeling happy for this guy, Graham Potter? So just to give you guys a quick intro on this guy, right? So this guy came into people's attention when they beat Arsenal. I know we are talking about everyone beating Arsenal these days, but this was way back in 2017-18 season in the Europa League when they knocked out in the knockout phase when they had a win over. They didn't knock Arsenal out, but they had a victory over Arsenal. And then obviously with Swansea City against Manchester City, I remember watching that. Was it a League Cup match where
Yeah.
Swansea City gave a very good fight to Manchester City? And eventually they lost, but then he developed a very good reputation of playing a possession-based attacking football. So, and this season, obviously, kudos to the club as well. They persisted. They sacked Chris Hughton. We know what now has happened to Chris Hughton. He got sacked on the lower championship as well. He's a good guy, but he's definitely not the guy who could take the club forward in Premier League. And they got him. Obviously, they haven't fared like even in mid-table. I wouldn't say that they have been mid-table. I would say they have been more closer to relegation in the past 2 seasons than being a mid-table club. But this season, are we thinking of Brighton as forget Brighton, thinking of not David Moyes, Graham Potter more as a next David Moyes of Premier League, or is it too early?
I
I
mean,
think
like we will
Tottenham missed the
basically.
bus on this. I think Tottenham missed the bus of Graham Potter. I think
Uh,
um, they could have had him. I think they tried, but
Oh, they
we
tried.
were talking
Okay.
of Norwich, and there's a complete contrast to Norwich here. Brighton, really well run club, good recruitment, and they have been a good work in progress. I remember it was last season. I think they drew with United until referee gave a penalty after full
Yep.
time, and
Mope.
Brighton
Yep.
battered Man United that day. Should have won actually, but ended up losing. Graham Potter is a great manager, and I'm pretty sure, unless Brighton does something miraculous in the next couple of years, I think he will move to a top club, probably top English club, and very well could be Tottenham or
That
anyone
was
actually.
that's exactly my point. Do you think he will be the next David Moyes? We know what David Moyes did with
I think he
Everton.
could
He
be the next
stayed.
Pochettino. I would say. I think he could be the next Pochettino if you're
uh,
asking for a comparison.
Hmm.
I think Pochettino might be someone he could. I really like a Brighton play. I really, even if it's not a big game, I think I would just end up watching Brighton versus whoever they're
Speak.
playing because
They're
really
just
good football.
brilliant to watch. And they are probably only team after Man City and Liverpool and probably Chelsea nowadays that you know what you're going to get of them. The philosophy, they're going to keep the ball, they're going to play. Even with any players, for example, against Arsenal yesterday, they were missing Bissouma and Alzari and two of the probably Bissouma, I think, is one of the best CDMs in the Premier League. Many top teams after him. But even without him, they were brilliant to watch. Arsenal were lucky to get a draw out of that. So the philosophy is top class, and he's such a good manager. Tries to build his team. They're struggling in the last season before that. Now he has his players, and they are reaping the rewards for it. It's brilliant to watch.
I mean, it will be basically interesting to see how he manages over the festive period, because
Hmm.
that's the season, that's the time of the year which basically decides
Tests.
everything. Just like I said before, Brentford might be the team that decides Premier League champions. Similarly, it will be like, okay, Graham Potter is doing very well, and there is no doubt that he is a top class manager. The players in his team, doesn't matter who comes in and plays, knows exactly what to do, and that's the philosophy which we are speaking about. But uh, what happens over the festive period when you play probably like 8 games in 4 days, something like
Yep.
during the
Yep.
Christmas
Doing
and
the
New Year period, you are playing around 8 games. Sorry, no, 4 games in eight
Four
days.
games in 8 days.
You
8 days.
can't play 8 games in
Eight
four
games
days.
in
So
4 days. Yep. Yep. We understood that.
yeah,
Yep.
so 4 games in 8 days. You have to rotate the players, and it's basically down to Graham Potter how he rotates the team, how he keeps the players fresh to basically keep the European challenge for the European places ongoing beyond that festive period. He's basically challenging for European places now.
I think
Brighton
he'll
are,
definitely get that European Conference. What's that?
yeah,
Seventh
yeah,
European
spot?
Conference.
they are
That's yeah,
currently
right.
they are
I think they
currently in a
can
Europa
definitely go
League
get that,
place.
or even Europa League for sure.
Yeah, I would say like if they go to European Conference League, they would actually do well. A lot of Premier League teams would do well in
Do
the
well there.
Europa Conference League.
And
I
that
mean,
would
last
mean it.
season as well, if you remember, when Brighton plays against Man City, even in the fixture where they lost eventually, they were the better team out of the
Yeah.
two. And when Man City got the red card in the return fixture, they just ripped Man City apart. And that's how good Brighton is under Graham Potter. And the one thing that I love about Graham Potter is his man management, because tactical side of his game is good. Everyone can agree. But to keep his player happy, it is very important when you're benching your players like Mope or Trossard, and still, they are comfortable coming off the bench and performing for you. That is the kind of a manager everyone wants to have
Wants
at
to
their
have.
club. That's what Klopp has done at Liverpool. I mean, I'm not so sure about Pep Guardiola, to be very honest, because he always likes to play that Russian roulette with his team. But with Graham Potter, it's a completely different story, and I see much more of a Klopp in Graham Potter rather than a Pep Guardiola.
Interesting. Quite interesting. Any other thoughts before we move to the next one? So really what we think is Graham Potter is gonna be the next big guy. But question is which of the top six clubs would snatch him? I think that's something which remains to be seen.
Not Manchester United for sure.
Yeah, yeah. We are not going that way again. We are not doing a
Absolutely.
David Moyes again.
All right, the next one is a very close to my heart topic because Premier League Museum, that's what we are all about, right? Which is the history. And this week when I was analyzing one of the fan tweets, it said, why can't we have the jerseys from previous seasons in one
For
of
Arsenal,
the every club? No, this is just one of the sample jerseys. JVC, I think
Oh,
Arsenal. Listen, Arsenal were good in the 80s. They were good. They had
yeah.
their heydays. So let's not discount that aspect. That Arsenal have been a very good team. I mean, they were champions, Premier League champions. They were good under Arsene Wenger, and then this
but they were.
stadium. But they were.
The point
Will
is
they?
they
The
were.
question is, I think the key is with what Thierry Henry showed us, right, when he was wearing that jersey. I forget which was that Arsenal's match, and he was, I think it was against Tottenham, where he was wearing this this
Yeah.
jersey of his. That's where this question really came up. That should we revive that in Premier League as well, just to honor
But
our
can they
history?
revive? But can they revive their club? The big question is this. I mean,
Will a
reviving
jersey
their
help? Will a jersey help
no,
make people
absolutely
more
not. It's the
motivated?
performance.
I
It's
mean,
the performance on field.
I mean,
I think
Arsenal
that's down to
fans.
business. That's down to Nike, or that's down to your
Yeah,
Nike or
uh,
your Puma or Adidas. I don't think any of this will matter to.
yeah.
I mean, it's more money for
Footballing
for
side
them
of
if
the
they
game.
want to interest it.
Like Arsenal fans probably realize now that what a brilliant job Arsene Wenger has done over so many years to basically keep them as a
Relegate the club.
Champions League team. Because let's be very honest, why not many managers could have done that, what he has done, like getting
The
a new
budget.
stadium, managing the debt, getting new players. Yeah, he lost quite a few players as well, but um, he basically made sure that Arsenal were a top four team.
Stable. Was a
Yeah,
stable.
we used to
Yeah.
call them Forsenal, but at least they used to be at least fourth. They are not even that now.
I
So
mean,
Well,
the guy played Shamak and still secured the Champions League spot.
yeah.
yeah,
So that tells a lot about the management of the guy.
Yeah, yeah. Steve, you have
uh,
been quiet so far. Any thoughts from you on that retro jersey?
Well, I mean, I only own retro jerseys. I don't have anything that is local. I mean, this is from 82, I think. So I think they should all have at least won in the because I mean you're trying to generate new money because I mean you have people that literally buy a jersey every year,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that brings the money into the club. I mean, I mean, I bought one of my retro jerseys at a team. The rest are all through classic football shirts at that point. So, oh, actually, two positions from Liverpool. You should have one or two, but don't let it be something that's a completely irrational year like a 78 for Derby. Put something that means something for like Manchester United. Do the treble year. Chelsea, well, hell, pick anything really. I mean, you guys have had great jerseys all the way back to when Zola and Ruud Gullit there. I mean, you think about those. These third ones that are just, I mean, Liverpool's had some you look back and go, oh, just fire the design team, please.
I mean, like if you look back at Chelsea's FA Cup jersey from a couple of seasons ago, it was basically a retro jersey designed with all the sponsors and stuff for the FA Cup specifically. Like we had the sponsors, but they were basically painted in blue and everything. And I would definitely, I would say, love to have those retro jerseys back in a certain way. Like specifically the goalkeeper jerseys, they were amazing, like those bright colors.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting, like Denmark probably had the jersey of Peter Schmeichel.
Oh yeah,
If
that
you look at
retro
Yeah.
if you
dynamite.
look at United's jersey, this season, all three have been the retro jerseys. One from the 68, one from the 92, and one from the 91, if I'm not wrong. So all three of them are much of a recreation of our
Recreation.
retros.
Even last season, there it was one for the away jersey, third jersey,
Yeah,
United one. It was a retro
yeah,
jersey. So United have gone down the line that lane, and Adidas is like trying to
Pushing.
sell more jerseys as well. And when you go retro, people are obviously going to buy more. So United have gone down the line for the last couple of years, and it's looking good. The third jersey, they even posted it with Mark Hughes.
Mark Hughes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the blue jersey, so they posted it as
yeah.
well. So yeah, they're going down that lane.
Yeah, and we have one more jersey with a collar on it. Not a little dinky one, but those real nice ones, like the old one that Dennis Beerkamp had for Arsenal. They
Dennis-
could actually barely work. So many are business casual nowadays. You get one with a collar, there you go.
Yeah, we should. Yep.
I mean, if you look at the retro jerseys, like from the old days, I really used to like when they had like the badge in the center with the numbers instead of on the sides. And I mean, like obviously commercialization is a part of football, and that has helped make Premier League as competitive as it is today. But sometimes, just the appeal of it, less speaks more, something like I mean, like just see it is the JVC logo. It's neat. It's
Yeah.
it's neat. I mean, like
I mean,
as a Manchester United fan, a Mohawk, a Mole, a Thurwa. I mean, like obviously you are getting a lot of money, but do you really think the Team Viewer logo goes with the Manchester United jersey that much? I mean, like obviously there's the commercial side to it. We would just agree,
It's
but
way better than
It looks better
Chevrolet.
than Chevrolet. Yeah.
It's way better than Chevrolet.
Horrible.
Anything works. In place of Chevrolet.
AIG was doing well,
AIG were
but they
really
went
good.
bankrupt. So
Yeah.
United can't do anything about
So
it.
I think really the key is clubs are doing it. Some of the top clubs are doing it. Obviously, there are commercial aspects, but I think the club, as we would agree that the clubs should push their sponsors, maybe contract or something, to get those retro jerseys more in place. I think that will not just help the league get more money with the, obviously they are getting money, but also some of the old or the generation which is not keeping up with the current ones will
I mean,
also.
like, let's be very honest. Adidas and all these organizations, they are basically pressing for the visibility with their
Yeah,
logo or whatever
yeah.
it is. But if they basically sell more jersey, it's basically their profit, and
Yep.
fans would buy retro jersey. So yeah.
There you go. We have the retro jerseys coming up, all the past ones. Okay, so great. Last topic that we have, and I know we are close to our finishing line. Chelsea. Do we trust Chelsea with Thomas Tuchel? I'm
I
Yes.
gonna
mean,
end it there.
like it's basically
Yes.
as long as it lasts, that's how we run. We
I
sack
think Chelsea
managers
have
in
the
the
best
middle of the
squad.
season. We sack managers in the middle of the season and still end up winning something. That's our way. So yeah, as long as it lasts, why not? But yeah, let's. I mean, like Thomas Tuchel and the board, both of them have very high ambitions, and so far it has been a happy marriage for both of them. But when the egos collide, we will just see where it goes.
And
I
this
mean,
is where
I think
according to
Chelsea
me,
have a
it's a
good
long
side.
stretched honeymoon period, to be very honest. I never thought, they will go on such a run that they'll lift the Champions League and then they'll top the, league table before the second international
break.
break. But
Uh, I mean, like Prashant, do you remember last year when we had the first Premier League podcast before the preseason? I said that we would end up winning at least one trophy.
You did.
Doesn't matter who the manager
Who the
is.
manager? Lampard was there at that time, and we rated Lampard higher than Ole.
Yeah, but but at the end of the day, we agreed that like
He
we
got the
agreed.
result.
Yeah, we said that I said was basically that we'd end up at least winning at least one trophy. It doesn't matter who the manager is at the end of the season. And that's how we run. And just because it works for us doesn't mean it will work for
Work for
everyone.
everyone.
It
Yeah,
just works for us.
I think it's more
Strange.
of Roman Abramovich who has found this formula, and no one else has been able to replicate this formula.
I mean, like
it's a
if you,
Chelsea thing. It's a
yeah, it's
Chelsea
a
thing.
Chelsea
Yeah.
thing.
It's a Chelsea thing.
It's a
But I think
Chelsea thing.
Tuchel is a great manager. I think they will again win a trophy this season for sure. I think they should. I think they have the best squad. I think they have the best squad depth. I think they have a very good 11. I think their 11 is. I think only Liverpool have a similar as good 11 as Chelsea have. I think they have the best squad, I believe, and a very good manager. And they have already won a trophy. They had a rough couple of days, defeated by
And
City and Juventus.
still ended up being top of the table before the
No, no, I'm not
international
talking
break.
of. I'm not talking league right now. I'm
Uh,
talking basic form.
I mean, like
Chelsea
let
defeated by City and get done by Juventus. That was shocking too. That was very surprising. But
I
still, I
mean,
think Tuchel will end up winning a trophy, and I think Chelsea
The
probably will
only
win the league.
Yeah, the only thing I think is they don't come back Chelsea. When they go 1-0 down, all their like game plan falls away. The team is built on defense. They just don't make a comeback. So that's the only thing. But I won't be surprised. I love Tuchel. He's a great manager. As Amol said, the squad depth is amazing. They should win the title. But I won't be surprised if he's sacked if they don't win the title. That's the way
yeah,
Chelsea
I,
are.
No,
I mean,
oh
he
no,
could
please don't.
he could be gone by February. Let's be
Yeah,
very
you never
honest.
know with Roman.
You never know. You never know with us. Tuchel could be gone by February, and also he could be here for the next 3 years. You never know what is happening.
If
I think
Tuchel goes in February,
I
somebody
think
should get him fast.
I think the key for Chelsea or Thomas Tuchel, right, is
Keep
he
winning.
capable of keeping the squad? I know he's good at rotating the squad, but keeping the squad happy.
I
I
don't
mean,
think there
like,
are any signs yet which say he's struggling with it. I don't think so. And probably you
uh,
can't count the Alonso knee thing as
Timo
that.
Werner,
But
I
Timo
mean,
Werner,
the thing with
Lukaku.
well, he
We
did
can't keep.
score. He did find the back of the net. That was a good
I
goal.
mean, for Thomas Tuchel, it is basically like if you play well, you are in the team sheet. That's it. There are no two ways about it. Marcos Alonso started the season for us. I mean, like, do you think he's going to drop Ben Chilwell the next time we take the field against Brentford? No.
But
Chilwell.
Sarthak, as you said that Ronaldo is more of a luxury signing for Manchester United. don't you think that Lukaku is a similar kind of a signing for Chelsea?
I mean, let's be very honest. We are comparing a
I'm
36 year
being
old.
honest.
Yeah,
I'm being honest here.
yeah. We are comparing a 36-year-old with a 28
No,
year
but
Big
old.
game player, but a
it's
big
about the
game player,
game. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's about
a
and
being
big
the
game
game
player.
player.
Ronaldo scored
and
more than Lukaku last year in Serie
yeah,
A.
Last year as well,
yeah,
he
35-year-old.
outscored,
yeah,
Lukaku.
and
So so
also with Timo Werner, he is the guy
Yeah,
who scores twice in 32 league games. I mean, he has been unlucky and
no,
everything,
but I'm
lack
talking
of
about Lukaku
confidence.
here,
You
not
know, no,
about
no.
Timo Werner.
We needed Lukaku. It's as
so
simple as that.
really, I think
And
I think the really coming down. Sorry, go ahead. Finish,
we
Sarthak.
needed Lukaku. And to be really honest, if I'm looking at it, if I was one of the scouts of Chelsea, I would have gone for someone more younger, someone like Darwin Núñez or someone from Benfica. But at the end of the day, Lukaku, I understand why
Navigate.
the board
I
went for Lukaku. It's perfectly fine. Whatever, like we do
I
it
think
our
I
way
kind
at
of
the end of.
disagree there because I think Lukaku was the right signing for Chelsea. I don't think they should have gone for somebody younger. I think they got him at the right age. He's
Uh,
28. He's
I
in
mean,
his
like,
peak. That is his peak, and he's scoring goals. Yes, he scored one less than Ronaldo, but he still scored so many of them. And I think
I
there
mean, like,
are a better team.
let's be
They are a
very
better team with
honest.
a
Let's be very honest. As long as he keeps scoring
score.
goals for us, we are happy.
But really, the key is Tuchel, right? Can you trust him with the squad management because they will get tested. The festive season, they will get tested. They will get tested with the runs in the cup, the runs in the Champions League as well, which will come up after this international break. Can Tuchel manage it? We saw a glimpse of it, a slight glimpse of it when they went back to back goalless in this run of Champions League as well as the league. But can the same thing happen again to them before the next international break? And will Thomas Tuchel still be able to manage it well?
I think
I
it's a
mean, let's be
blip.
very honest. We are not
It's just a blip
looking.
for Chelsea,
w-
for Tuchel. It's just a blip. I don't think it should ring any alarm bells right now. I think
I mean, like
Chelsea
we.
are in good hands. I think they have a good squad, and that's a manager's job to rotate. And that festive season, yes, it's tough, but they have a squad to cope with that, and
I
that's why
mean,
I think
like
they should be favorites for the league.
So you think he
half of the Chelsea fans forget that we have players like Hakim Ziyech and Christian
Oh yeah.
Pulisic. People have almost forgotten that they exist in the team anymore.
I think his
True.
in-game management is amazing. To every
Yeah.
substitute he makes, he changes the formation. It's always not just to rotate players, but always to impact the game. I think he's a very good manager. The defensive style, like I said, their comebacks are very frequent because they hardly go behind. But when they go behind, the stats are not really good for them. But you never know with Chelsea. They've got the best team, I think, in the Premier League, the squad wise. So anything
I
other
mean,
than winning the league will be a
if
failure, I guess.
So I guess
if you think
yeah.
squad wise, it's basically Man City. They have got a very talented squad, and they have got like two starting 11s essentially.
Yeah, so
But
that's
no
where
No
the
number
striker,
point.
nine.
Yeah, so
no
exactly
Yeah,
that's
striker.
where
no,
the
no
point. So
striker.
so yeah, guys, that's exactly
Chelsea
where the
got
point
two.
was that Chelsea has got a good squad. I think this season is one of those seasons where, if we could talk about the squad quality, all the top clubs. When I say top, I mean Liverpool, United, whether it's Chelsea, whether it's City. All of them have got top players. It's now around how the managers. It's really coming down to the chess game of the managers. What kind of tactic, strategy,
I mean,
man management.
it's just not about the managers as well. It's about the players as well. Like all the teams has that quality, but uh, at certain moments against certain teams, you will need those moments of individual brilliance to basically snatch the game out.
Thanks, Sarthak. So this was really a good conversation. What do you look forward to in this break week?
Yeah, I'm just hoping that Donny and Nemanja Matic are both not going on international duty. So I'm hoping they impress Oli in the training sessions, and we have to sort the midfield out. And Ole is under a bit of pressure as well. I want the guy to do well. So just hoping that players come back fresh and difficult run of games coming up. So hopefully it will be better results and climbing that table.
And like I'm not looking forward to the international break. to be really honest, because it's the week I get bored the most because there is no football around. But yeah, it would be a good time for some of the players who haven't played that much or have played that much and are not going on the international break to basically refresh, recharge for the rest of the season. Because yeah, I guess we have another international break coming up at the end of the month, if I'm not wrong. Huh?
November, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
November
First,
it is.
yeah. So yeah, basically, I mean, like, what I think is like it would be a good time for Chelsea to analyze what went wrong in the last couple of games and everything, and what they need to do to sort it. And as we know in football, momentum is a thing.
yeah, momentum is a big thing. You are right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Who could have thought Tottenham 3 wins and then 3 losses?
Ah, I'll just keep on rewatching that celebration from Andros Townsend because
I think you should show that too. I think Ole should show that, or Ronaldo should keep watching that.
I mean, like,
no, I mean,
Townsend is a Ronaldo fanboy. He
Yeah,
yeah,
wants to.
that's what he said. That's what he
So,
said. It was no
and
offense.
basically he and Ronaldo had a good chat after as well. So I guess it's
no,
all
that
fine.
wasn't a good chat. Ronaldo looked pissed,
No,
to be
no,
very
no, no.
honest.
Exactly.
He
I thought
looks
he.
pissed always if his team loses, and that's how what you expect from a top player, right?
Absolutely, monster mentality that is.
Monster
Yeah.
mentality. Yeah, yeah. Amol.
As a United fan, I think I want players to stay fit and got a big run coming up, and this break, hopefully, they come back refreshed, charged up, and a much better team. Because if this next couple of weeks go south, then yeah, United and only both are in trouble. As a football fan, I think I'm looking forward to Netherlands play because Van Gaal is back as the coach, and I want to see how he manages the group of
Good
players
point.
that they
Yeah.
have. I mean, right now it's a great bunch of players, and I think probably I think Van Gaal will do a great job with that, and probably to make them good again.
Can I ask one question? It might sound to be a very cheeky question. Do you think Van Gaal is not choosing Van de Beek because he's a Manchester United player?
No, because he's not
I
been
don't think
playing.
so. Yeah, Don
He's
has not
not
been
been
playing for
playing.
months, so I
If
don't think so.
you want to listen something cheeky, you know when Van de Beek scored his first European goal
Uh-huh.
against a certain team
It
called
was Molde.
Molde, who was the
Solskjaer,
manager of Molde.
Solskjaer was the manager.
No,
It's an
Oh,
old meme. It's not new anymore. It's an
but
old
again, I
meme
don't think
already.
that will also not be a reason. Mkhitaryan is playing for Roma, isn't it, under Jose?
so this is good here. Thank you so much. And if you like this, please follow us on the Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. And this guest list is obviously a star list. And thank you so much, guys. I think we'll end it there.